Hello guys, this is Abel from Vouch Initiative International.
Hello guys, this is Gabriel from Vouch Initiative International as well.
We are here to discuss a topic that we brought out in the CompTIA A+, and we pick a specific topic, which is the CPU.
Yes, CPU. Yes, the CPU. We all know that CPU stands for Central Processing Unit, and then it is the main component in every modern computer. Even in the olden days, the PC we use, the CPU stands as the main component that helps the machine to function very well.
Yeah, the CPU is in the form of a small chips that run application in it, and it also plays a role when it comes to virtualization.
Yes, the CPU plays a very core component to it. Yes. It helps other functions in the PC to work effectively. Though it can't work on its own, it accesses data from RAM, from hardware, and then it runs them and then feeds back the process into them, whether store them for temporary or store them for permanent. Yes. We get to know that CPU comes in different sections, it comes in different types. And then in selecting a CPU, you have to be very, very observant in that. All CPUs might look very similar, but it all have various and different functions and sockets and different motherboard and everything being different when it comes to installing and then selecting a CPU.
We came across a very topic, which is HTT. What is HTT? It's a hyper trading technology. Let me explain hyper trading technology. It's a process whereby one CPU acts like a multiple CPU.
Yes. And this HTTP, it is a CPU that manufacturer that helps it to support this function. Not this is the architecture in manufacturing the CPU. You have to make it to support this HTTP in order to help it. In order to help the system to support virtualization system running another computer in a PC.
Yeah. Selecting and installing CPU. You should know the actual socket which you are using for your CPU when, let's say, the core that you are going to, the socket that you are going to use for each type of machines that you are going to use.
Okay. Yes, that's what my brother is saying. So with the CPU, it comes in different sockets as well. We have the land grade array 1151, land grade array 1150, land grade array 2011, and then we have the AMD. Naturally, CPU comes in two sections. We have two companies that provide manufacture CPU. You have the AMD type, and then we have the Intel type. Yes, so the AMD system, AMD CPU can never fit the motherboard of an Intel. So these are two different types of CPU. It comes in different sections. Yes, and then in CPU generally, being the main component of the computer, it also comes with what troubleshooting terminologies. Okay, so I would ask my brother to help us a little bit when it comes to troubleshooting the CPU. There are different types of problems. There are different types of issues and challenges when it comes to solving the CPU.
So when we talk about troubleshooting a CPU, what comes into your mind?
When you talk about troubleshooting a CPU, what comes in mind is CPU acts as the very main component, and then with that factor, it generates a lot of challenges when it is not well installed, when it's work excessively over its strength, or maybe when it is running other software that is much above its strength. Yes, this can end up in overheating or maybe catastrophic failure. When it comes to CPU troubleshooting, it falls in two categories: either overheating or catastrophic failure. Yes.
Okay, so what's the steps that involved in troubleshooting? Let's say someone has bring this machine to you, and you need to troubleshooting how the machine, the problems of the machine. So what are the steps you need to involve to troubleshooting a machine?
Okay, so this when it comes to troubleshooting a machine, it comes in different sections. One, you have to know what is actually wrong with the problem you are having. You have to analyze it first, and then you give a theory, know where the problem is coming from. Yes, you analyze, and then you develop a solution for it. Okay, so naturally CPU can only cause a system not to boot at all. That is when probably you don't even install the CPU well in the motherboard. Probably maybe you installed it very well, but adding a cooling, CPU generates a lot of heat, and for that reason there should be a heat sink, or let's say a fan, a wall-based fan that can help it extract the heat that it generates in order to keep the system very cool. So if there's a problem with this fan, or maybe a problem with this sink, it might lead to the CPU either causing the system not to function or even give you a blue screen. Yes.
To summarize this thing, yeah, we all know, as we earlier said, that the CPU is the main component of a computer or a smartphone. Yeah, as we all said, it works like we, the human being, our brain, how we function, how we do our things, similar to the CPU. Without instructing it, it can't be able to function very well.
Yes. So as that's what my brother said, it's the main component, and then its work is major for other components. It helps access other data as well. It can't work on YouTube, but it stands as the main component of the system. And for that reason, CPU is very, very key when it comes to computers or maybe other machines and stuff. So we thank all of you, and then we appreciate your time. We hope to give you more theories on anything that we come across again. Thank you.